The advancement of science and the diffusion of information is the best element to true liberty. The purpose of separation of church and state is to keep forever from these shores the ceaseless strife that has soaked the soil of Europe in blood for centuries. There are more instances of the abridgment of the freedom of the people by gradual and silent encroachments of those in power than by violent and sudden usurpations. Philosophy is common sense with big words. The truth is that all men having power ought to be mistrusted. A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The accumulation of all powers, legislative, executive, and judiciary, in the same hands, whether of one, a few, or many, and whether hereditary, self-appointed, or elective, may justly be pronounced the very definition of tyranny. Knowledge will forever govern ignorance, and a people who mean to be their own governors must arm themselves with the power knowledge gives. A popular government without popular information or the means of acquiring it is but a prologue to a farce or a tragedy or perhaps both. It will be of little avail to the people that the laws are made by men of their own choice if the laws be so voluminous that they cannot be read, or so incoherent that they cannot be understood. Americans have the right and advantage of being armed, unlike the citizens of other countries whose governments are afraid to trust the people with arms. I cannot undertake to lay my finger on that article of the Constitution which granted a right to Congress of expending, on objects of benevolence, the money of their constituents. Charity is no part of the legislative duty of the government. The means of defense against foreign danger have been always the instruments of tyranny at home. Among the Romans it was a standing maxim to excite a war whenever revolt was apprehended. Throughout all Europe, the armies kept up under the pretext of defending have enslaved the people. Religious bondage shackles and debilitates the mind and unfits it for every noble enterprise, every expanded prospect. History records that the money changers have used every form of abuse, intrigue, deceit, and violent means possible to maintain their control over governments by controlling money and its issuance. If men were angels, no government would be necessary. If angels were to govern men, neither external nor internal controls on government would be necessary. In framing a government which is to be administered by men over men, the great difficulty lies in this. You must first enable the government to control the governed, in the next place, oblige it to control itself. No nation could preserve its freedom in the midst of continual warfare. Every new and successful example, therefore, of a perfect separation between ecclesiastical and civil matters is of importance, and I have no doubt that every new example will succeed, as every past one has done, in shewing that religion and government will both exist in greater purity, the less they are mixed together. You must first enable the government to control the governed, and in the next place, oblige it to control itself. Knowledge will forever govern ignorance, and a people who mean to be their own governors must arm themselves with the power knowledge gives.